Hello everyone, Manthrow here, and welcome back to another bossing guide. I'm fighting Kree'Ara this time. Just wait, because I want to show you guys a little bit about how I like to fight Kree'Ara. If I'm even saying that correctly. Your basic bet is you're going to want to use range with this one. Normally it would be said to be, use stuff like melee, because it is typically a range and melee boss. However, when you're really close to him, he does tend to like to do a lot of damage. Which, why don't I kite him around then? I'm not entirely sure, but the best ranging method that I know of is to just kind of stick in one corner. This way he's not interrupting your attacks and pushing you all over the place. Try to use debilitate as often as you can. To have an easy time, you want to have decent gear. I would say at least ports. Ports is always ideal for any type of bossing. It's not too bad. I want to show you a few fights, because starting out with Kree'Ara, well, actually any of these bosses is actually the hardest part. Is like the first couple bosses until you get your adrenaline build up if you are using EOC. Because if you are using EOC, your main damage is going to be coming from, and you know it, it's going to be coming from your ultimates, and it's going to be coming from your thresholds. With Kree'Ara, or however you want to say that, I typically use mostly my thresholds with them, as I actually do with most bosses, mostly just due to the fact that it's, well, easier. And then also, if you have capabilities of the new ability from Shattered Worlds, you'll actually be able to do even better damage, because you'll have that puncture attack, which will actually add more damage over time into your capabilities, as well as being able to do a new type of threshold. So it's actually beneficial to try to get the ranging ability more than it is the melee ability. Now, if you guys do want me to see, more of like a melee method, I probably will be doing a melee method eventually, but I wanted to show like the primary way that I know that most people use against Kree'Ara. And if you have Soul Split, that's actually very ideal. Again, this is the kind of boss you want to do a lot of... I would say most bosses, you want to do damage over time effects. That's why you see me doing stuff like Deadshot instead of... Well, actually for this one, you kind of want to avoid Death Swiftness until he gets really close to you and has you backed into the corner here. Because otherwise, he kind of bounces you around a lot, and it just kind of gets a little bit annoying. But, you see, like, I'm getting backed into the corner here now. This time I can use that. Also, if you... little thing I personally like to do is, when it comes to the altar, because you can only pray there every 10 minutes. Well, what you can be doing is you can base that timer off of your aura. This way it helps you keep better track of just about how much you can actually do, or how often you can go there. Because it'll help you save on your prayer capabilities by a lot. Also, all of his followers, they drop feathers. If you really want to collect feathers, by all means go ahead. But I would actually suggest do not pick up any of the feathers, especially if you're using a legendary pet. If you're using a legendary pet, for example, he's going out to collect a drop, Now, I don't have any room right now, but that's okay. Because now I just made room from drinking another dose of my potion. But if I run out of room, he won't pick up the feathers anymore, and he'll just try to pick up other stuff. So it's one of those things where I like having the crushed nest stacking first. I like having the other items stacked first. And then if, this is a big thing, if I have the time for it, well, if I have the capability for it, the room, I might collect feathers, but it's usually not going to happen. As always, keep your Enhanced Excalibur with you. Reason being is because it heals you and boosts your defense. If you do those kind of things combined with the Vampirism aura, and then also for here, you don't want to use stuff like Demon Horde. You don't want to do that, because all they do is drop bones. So whenever they're dropping all these bones, guess what you're just going to be getting? A whole lot of bones. Well, a whole lot of a very little prayer boost. So try to avoid them as much as you possibly can. Well, avoid bringing stuff like that. Instead, try to bring like a Blood Fury amulet. That's one of my particular ones that I personally prefer. Reason being behind it is it does heal you for a chunk of the damage you do. And if you combine that with Vampirism, combine that with Soul Split, you're looking at a very sizable return in the amount of health you will get back. Now see, right there, as you can see, I was using Rapid Fire for this boss. It's not a good idea. And as a result, he ended up interrupting it, and I never got to use it for its full extent. However, if I back myself into the corner, now is the time when I can use Death Swiftness to finish him off. And that's how you want to do that. When you get back in the corner, then use it. Start out with something like Deadshot, because it's doing a lot of damage, instead of something like, well, really any of the other abilities. All the other abilities kind of don't have the same effect that you are looking for. So it's kind of a waste to use certain other attacks. As you can see, got more going on. And before I forget, okay, this video is going to come alongside with a few other announcements. There's also the heat wave that's going to be going on this weekend. So if you are big into the Lumbridge Crater, now's the time to do it, because there's no heat cap. Also, on August 29th through October 2nd, there's going to be Balthazar's big raffle is going to be returning, which means all sorts of prizes as far as that goes. It is said that Ironman accounts cannot participate in this event, which is unfortunate, but it is understandable. Personally, I would have liked to have been able to see them be able to win some of the gear, but it's understandably so that they shouldn't be able to get the gear. The only event that's kind of stuff like that I think they should be able to do is bonus XP events. I think they should be able to participate in that to some degree. I think maybe a reduced amount would be fair enough. But again, that's just my opinion on that, and well, my opinion isn't law, so we'll say that. I know there's going to be a lot of people who think it shouldn't, some people who think it should. And in all fairness, like all interest, opinions aside, when you actually look at what an Iron Man account is supposed to be, they really shouldn't. They shouldn't be getting anything like that at all. The fact that they can actually participate in events such as the Lumbridge Crater is actually being very nice at jackets and being very nice and lenient on the rules of an Iron Man account. So, yeah, as you can see now, Kree'Ara, or Kree'Ara, it's becoming very AFK. And when it becomes very AFK, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just it becomes easier and easier. And now you can see all I have to really focus on is maintaining my prayer. And maybe some inventory space if I get an item that I so desire. So if you follow just these basic rules when it comes to fighting Kree'Ara, it's going to be pretty simple. Also, I will say, you know, I am using chaotics. All my stuff is augmented. Not nearly as augmented as it should be, but it is augmented. And do keep in mind, if you're using chaotics, you can use royal bolts with them, just for that added little bit of extra damage. But I hope you guys find this combat guide a little bit useful, at least when it comes into fighting your bosses. If you guys ever want to see me use lower level gear, I could do that. But when it comes to you guys and using low level gear, it's one of those things where it is possible to defeat them. But if you want to AFK like this, and well, maybe not even AFK, but if you do want to be able to be here for a long extended period of time, it is going to require much higher gear than stuff like, you know, Royal Dragonhide or below. Even Krill's, it is a defensive armor, that's why I mentioned that, will have a moderately hard time against Kree'Ara. As you can see, my Port's armor, it kind of has a little bit of issues, especially with starting out against Kree'Ara. So, do keep that in mind. But if you follow some of these basic tips, you should be alright. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, later guys.